Mark chapter 6. He went out from there. He came into his hometown, and his disciples followed him. When the Sabbath had come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, "Where did this man get these things? And what is the wisdom that is given to this man, that such mighty works come about by his hands? Isn't this the carpenter, the son of Mary, and brother of James, Joseph, Judah, and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us?" So they were offended at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his hometown, and among his own relatives, and in his own house." So he could not perform any miracles there, except to lay his hands on a few of the sick and heal them. And he was amazed at their unbelief. And he went around from village to village, teaching the people. He called to himself the 12, and began to send them out 2 by 2, and he gave them authority over the unclean spirits. He instructed them to take nothing but a staff for the journey, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts, and to wear sandals, but not a second tunic. He said to them, "Wherever you enter into a house, stay there until you depart from there. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to you, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that place as a testimony against them. Assuredly, I tell you, it will be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city." Then they went out and preached that people should repent. They cast out many demons and anointed many with oil who were sick and healed them. Now King Herod heard about this, for Jesus' name had become well known, and people were saying, "John the Baptist has risen from the dead. That is why miraculous powers are at work in him." Others were saying, "He is Elijah," and still others, "He is a prophet, like one of the prophets of old." But Herod, when he heard this, said, "This is John, whom I beheaded. He has risen from the dead." For Herod himself had sent out and arrested John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. For John said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." So Herodias held a grudge against John and wanted to kill him, but she had been unable. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a righteous and holy man, and kept him safe. When he heard John's words, he was greatly perplexed, yet he listened to him gladly. On Herod's birthday, her opportunity arose. Herod held a banquet for his nobles and military commanders and the leading men of Galilee. When the daughter of Herodias herself came in and danced, she pleased Herod and those sitting with him. The king said to the young lady, "Ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you." He swore to her, "Whatever you shall ask of me, I will give you, up to half my kingdom." Then she went out and asked her mother, "What should I request?" And her mother answered, "The head of John the Baptist." At once the girl hurried back to the king with her request. "I want you to give me the head of John the Baptist on a platter immediately." The king was exceedingly sorry, but for the sake of his oaths and of his dinner guests, he didn't wish to refuse her. Immediately the king sent out a soldier of his guard and commanded to bring John's head. And he went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head on a platter, and gave it to the young lady. And the young lady gave it to her mother. When John's disciples heard about this, they came and took his body and placed it in a tomb. The apostles gathered themselves together to Jesus, and they told him all things, whatever they had done and whatever they had taught. And he said to them, "Come with me privately to a solitary place, and let us rest for a while." for many people were coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. So they went away in a boat by themselves to a solitary place. But many people saw them leaving and recognized them. They ran together on foot from all the towns and arrived before them. When Jesus stepped ashore and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. When it was late in the day, his disciples came to him and said, "This place is deserted, and it is late in the day. Send them away, that they may go into the surrounding country and villages, and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." They asked him, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?" "Go and see how many loaves you have," he told them. And after checking, they said 5 and 2 fish. He commanded them that everyone should sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke the loaves. And he gave to his disciples to set before them, and he divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. Those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. Immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go ahead to the other side to Bethsaida, while he himself sent the multitude away. After he had taken leave of them, he went up the mountain to pray. When evening came, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and Jesus was alone on land. He could see that the disciples were straining to row, because the wind was against them. About the 4th watch of the night, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., Jesus went out to them, walking on the sea. He intended to pass them by, but when they saw him walking on the sea, they cried out, thinking he was a ghost. For they all saw him and were terrified. But Jesus spoke up at once. "Take courage, I am. Be not afraid." He got into the boat with them, and the wind ceased, and they were very amazed among themselves and marveled. For they hadn't understood about the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored to the shore. As soon as they got out of the boat, the people recognized Jesus and ran around that whole region and began to bring those who were sick on their mats to where they heard he was. Wherever he entered, into villages, or into cities, or into the country, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might just touch the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched him were made well.